everyone, I have another process video for you today with the Thompson's Craft Supplies Mixed Media Design Team. This is my third project with the very beautiful Life in Full Colour February kit, and as you may have seen by the title, it is a scrapbook layout. So that paper I'm using there is the Ella & Viv Watercolour Party Splash paper, and I think it is my absolute favourite from the kit. It's really simple, but just really pretty, and I just love that rainbow of splashes that are going on at the top. So I wanted to take that rainbow effect and sort of expand it, and you shall see what I do and how I do that very shortly. I did just prime my paper with a layer of clear gesso, knowing a lot of mixed media was going onto it. The gesso helps, you know, keep the paper sturdy and all that. And my picture there, you just saw at the beginning, I actually put a layer of clear the 3D gloss gel, on it, because I'd printed it at home. I'm lacking in proper printed photos at the moment. My printer isn't fab, and when a photo is really dark, it leaves this like powdery residue on where so much ink has gone in it, and it really grosses me out, and it means you get ink on your fingers, and sometimes you transfer it onto your project and stuff. So that's why I put the gloss gel over it. It also gives this like a slightly cool crackled vintage effect as well when you use a brush as well. I don't know. Yeah, anyways, so that what I was doing there. I also, you just saw me put some washi on there, that's just for layers and for texture and stuff, and then I covered it in some white gesso as well. Again, it's just for textures and layers. So I've got my two stencils that I want to use. I've used these quite a lot in recent videos. They're just my current favourite. So there's the Chevron one, which was from AliExpress, and then there's the Crosses one, which was in a little pack of stencils from the range. I probably won't be able to link that one. I will attempt to link the Chevron one. By the way, if I ever forget to say anything, like the name of anything or the colour of an ink or anything, all the information is always down in the description box. I'm going to I'm going to write every single thing that I used in this project and add links to it where available. So if you missed what I said or anything like that, it's always down in the description box. And on the off chance I have forgotten to put it in, obviously feel free to ask. So yes, I'm just with the stencils, putting some modelling paste through them, not coloured. Sometimes I mix the colour in with the modelling paste and then use it, and sometimes I prefer to put the colour on top of the modelling paste. But what I'm doing is, because I'm having the stencil sort of images quite close to each other, I actually dry them in between putting them down. I don't completely dry them, obviously, because that would take a while, but just dry them enough that when I put the stencil on top of it, you know, when I've moved the stencil along a bit, it doesn't smush and ruin the design. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if it did. And then with the cross stencil, I'm actually using 3D gloss gel, because I think using gloss gel with a stencil has this really cool effect. And sometimes you can just leave it. Obviously it dries translucent. It looks white at the moment, but it does dry completely clear. If you just leave it, it leaves a cool effect. Like sometimes you can move your page around or your project and just see this little hint of the shapes and stuff, but also it looks super cool when you put mediums over it, like ink and paint and that. So I've put some at the top there which might not get covered in paints. The ones near the chevron pattern will be, because that's where I'm doing the most heavy amount of mixed media on this layout. But yes, so here are my inks. These are the ones I intended to start off with, but as ever I used way more as well. Those little pots there, they are the Luminart watercolours. Now I was super lucky in that my sister's mother-in-law was getting rid of a load of craft stuff a couple of years ago, and I just got this bag of stuff and they were in there. Thank you, Annie, by the way, if you're watching. I love them. I have no idea if they're still available. They're very much like the shimmers. Is it the Inkles? I'm not very good with all the different names of shimmers products, but they're a very hard paint, and you spray or put some water on them and wait a few minutes and they just turn into this glorious shimmery paint. They are beautiful. So I've got two colours there which I'm going to use, and you saw me just spray the water on them. So it started off, you can see what I'm doing is I'm taking the colour that's at the top in the pattern that's already on the paper and then bringing it down into the rest of my layout. So I started off with the Mr. Huey's in Canyon, and then I'm using the Mr. Huey's in Sunshine, and I'm sort of drying it a little bit between applications because I don't want the colours to completely run into each other, but I do want them to mix a little bit. So there I'm using the Luminart I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's what it says on the thing. Watercolour-y stuff. That colour is called Buttercup, so I put that on there because the Misty Huey Sunshine looks yellow in the bottle, but it's kind of a bit of an orange colour, really. The greens I'm using are all Heidi Swap. They are, hang on, I've written things down. Mint, Seafoam, and Patina. So the Seafoam is the lightest, the Patina is the one in the middle, and the Mint is the darkest. And again, I'm just drying in between applications, not completely, but enough so that we keep some of the colour without it all running. And you keep seeing me there sort of tapping my page down so we get the sort of long lines of ink sort of making their way down the page, because I kind of like that effect as well. And there's a hint of it in the stuff at the top. You can see the blue there, that's not, you know, the stuff that's already on the paper. There's kind of little ink drips there. That blue I just used is also Heidi Swap, which is in the colour Ocean, and you can see there where it's come through where I put the crosses with the gloss gel. I really love that effect. And just look at that colour, that blue. Oh my goodness, it is just, I love it so. Just how gorgeous is that? The colour is called Rich Cobalt, I think. It's gorge. I did just add a little bit more of the Heidi Swap in Mint just to sort of mix the blue and green there, because there was a bit too much of a defined line between the colours, and obviously I wanted them to mix in a bit. And yes, oh, that colour. Oh, I love it. Adding some of that Buttercup shimmery watercolour-y thing on top where I had put some of the cross stencil with the gloss gel. Just, you know, you can't really see it at the moment, but when you move the layout around a bit, you can kind of see what's going on. So to back my photo, I am using the 7 Dot Studio Hip Hop paper, which is from the kit. And I think I've used this paper in every project so far. Yeah, I have, actually. That's interesting. It's actually, when I first saw that paper, I thought, oh, I like it, but it's a bit specific. Like, I don't know what I'm going to use it for. And now it's ended up being really versatile, and I've used it in every single project. So there you go. Instead of just having one normal square to back the photo, I decided to have lots of ripped bits because, you know, it's interesting like that. And where things, you know, you have the ripped white edges, I've just added some more of that beautiful blue paint. I love it. With a sponge just to add some, you know, so it looks slightly more interesting rather than a bit of a harsher white edge. And yeah, that's what I'm doing with that, adding another bit there. I don't know why I don't do this more often, actually, use ripped pieces of paper or cardstock to back a photo, because I really like the effect, but, you know, sometimes you just forget these things that you love, and then you rediscover them and go, oh, I enjoyed that. Anyways, so that's most of the backing done, but I wanted to add this tag into this layout and have it so that I could write some stuff on it, like some journaling and a sort of a subtitle kind of thing, and then pull it out from under the picture. The tag is from the kit. It's another 7 Dot Studio. It's the Paint Chips collection, I think it's from. A lot of things from the kit are from that collection. It is really, really perfect for the theme. So I distressed the edge of that tag, and I've just shoved my layout out the way so I can do some embossing on the tag. So I'm using my Ranger embossing pen and writing Knots, which for non-UK people means Nottingham, 2011, which is where this picture was from. And the whole thing about my layout is that picture was when I went to Nottingham with some friends for a friend's birthday, you know, for a big night out kind of thing. And it was the first time I'd ever been to Nottingham, and I just fell in love with the city. And at the time I was starting to apply to different universities, and I decided that night basically that I was going to apply to the University of Nottingham, just because I'd just fallen in love so much with the city. And Nottingham can be, I don't want to sound like a douche, but it can be a bit of a hard university to get into, and I was like, I probably won't get in, but I've just had such a great night and I love this city so much that I'm just going to give it a go. And less than a year later, I was a first year at the University of Nottingham. So this is slightly what this layout is about, is that sort of revelation I had and that decision that sort of changed my life a little bit. So yes, that's part, and also it was a flipping great night, and we all had neon face paint on, so I thought that went with the theme as well. But you'll see why I used sort of the subtitle that I use later on. You'll see that pop up eventually. The other things I did on that tag, other than the embossing powders were a glittery black, and a wow embossing powder in Raspberry Coulis, which is a pink that has like blue glitter inside. And then some chevrons and a heart, and then some splatters. The chevrons and heart are from the sort of enamel / puffy stickers that came with the kit. I don't know, they're hard to describe. They're like somewhere between enamel and puffy. It's a weird texture, but yes. So I just wanted to add a little bit of material onto this. So I just added some lace and then some of the cheesecloth, which I kind of ripped a bit. And you can see that I had penciled where the tag was going to make sure I didn't put anything sticky there, so it had its, you know, space to go in and out. So I put double-sided tape around those lines and then added the gloss gel, or possibly matte gel, one of the gels, they're both great adhesives, onto the other bits as well to help that stick down. So that is just going to go on there. The splatters I think I used on the tag are from a Caldo ink in the colour turquoise, which I probably won't be able to link because I got it from the works a long time ago. I also had a bit of that cheesecloth just coming out and around onto the picture just because it makes it look a bit more rough and fun and all that kind of thing. And then adding some twine to my tag just to help, you know, kind of make it obvious that it's supposed to be pulled out and red kind of thing. And I added 2 layers of twine because I didn't like just that blue one. I'm not sure where either of those twines have come from. It's the kind of thing that, you know, I just pick up and I save and I, you know. Anyways, so there is my main title of Be Yourself, because, I don't know, I'm being silly on a night out and putting bright neon face paint on my face. So yes, and all the, you know, the colours, and it's fun, so Be Yourself is an appropriate title. So that's going on there, and I liked the way it looked when it was partially on the picture as well. And then I was thinking about using that XOXO because it does match some of the blues, but then I saw this thing that says take the next step, and I thought that was appropriate for like the story I just told you guys. Back in 2011 was not, especially the early part of 2011, was not the greatest time in my life, shall we say. And it was when I made the decision to go to university a little bit later than most people do. So yes, it was appropriate for the whole thing. That was the night I made the decision about applying to Nottingham and all that kind of thing. I'm not going to get too deep and emotional with you guys. You know what I'm like, but yes. So I put that there and I thought it looked really cool just on its own with the white background. Yes. So I'm adding a few bits from the kit, which are the not chipboard, what are they called? They're the 7 Dots Studio Paint Chips Die Cut Elements. There you go. And just adding those around my picture cluster because they go well. And then I have these enamel dots, which I have had for ages and ages and never had a project to use them on because I'm not generally a very bright and colourful person. You know, I like my pastels and my cooler colours. And I bought these enamel dots, which are from Papermania, and like they're the neon range. I bought them because they were dirt cheap, and you know I can't resist a bargain, but yes, but I finally have a use for them. Hurrah! So I put them on there like that, kind of in the rows, sort of bigger dots to smaller dots and stuff. I did add a couple of extra ones, sort of just there, that pink one behind the edge, and some pink ones on top of the cheeseclothy stuff as well, just for, you know, fun pops of the neon colour. And then these little sort of, they're not really enamel dots, they're from Poundland, and they probably are still available from Poundland. I see them all the time in there, even though I bought them a good year or so ago. Because I'd done those lines with the enamel dots, I really liked the look of that, so I thought I'd add a few more. At first I just added the blue and the red, and I was like, I need to have an odd number, so I added the yellows as well. And so I was just double checking that my tag was fitting in there, because very important. And then I did some journaling on the back of that about the picture and about all that stuff I was just telling you about the, you know, all of that. So yes, and then I think we are nearing the end. Yes, I mixed some white gesso with some water and got a very wet paintbrush and just did some splatters, because I think white gesso splatters look so awesome on really colourful things. For some reason it works better than using just normal white acrylic. I am not sure why. couldn't tell you about the chemical whatnot, but it just does. And so I think that's pretty much this layout done. I really enjoyed making this one. It's really bright and colourful, and I have just been loving this kit because, as I was saying, bright and colourful isn't my usual thing. You know, I like pastels and blues and navies and stuff, but this has just taught or reminded me how much fun it is to work with bright colours. There are still a few left, I believe, in store of this kit, so I will link it if you are interested. And other than that, it is time for me to go. So thank you so much, as ever, for watching this video. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, because it really helps out my channel. And have a little chin wag with me in the comments and all of those things. You know the score. Okay, enough from me. I am going. Thank you again. Bye bye.